This is the Workplace Ninja podcast, coming to you live from our summit in Baden with highlights, insights, and interviews.
So welcome back at the new recording, but still in the live stream and recording of some audio things, and we will talk about a few things like Defender, because I've invited some friends.
Sure, security is important.
Is it?
Yeah.
Why?
That's what they say. That's what they say.
Okay,
Keeps you busy at least. So.
Yeah,
So let's find out.
yeah, let's find that out. Who do we have on the table? Franz and Harit again.
Yeah,
We're still here.
we're still here.
And what do we have on the other side?
Mattias Borg from Sweden.
I'm from Sweden.
Yeah.
And on the other side?
Yeah, we also have Stefan Schörling all the way from Sweden. And
Dude from Sweden.
yeah,
Also
exactly.
from Sweden.
Yeah.
Still travel.
Exactly.
Yeah. Traveling, you both travel a lot, or more than me in that case. Is that within the community? Is these kind of things? Why are you doing that?
To me, I mean, I've started a user group in 2008. I'm always been passionate about supporting and helping others and sharing knowledge, and it gives me personally a lot of energy back when you can provide something to the community to learn from. So it's, giving is giving back. So.
Giving is getting back. Yeah, definitely. And that for you, how is that?
Yeah, it's the same thing. Learning from each other, sharing with each other. There's always someone that run into the same issue as I've done, and they probably have already made a solution for it, and the same thing that I can share with others, that I come up with and so on.
And security is important, Arjit said. So why is security important nowadays?
I mean, we have a threat landscape that is causing severe problems for many organizations where they are totally stand still because they have digitized their processes, supply chains, etc. have been digital, and if they have a disruption, I mean, their business usually stops and have huge financial impact.
So, and within the Microsoft suite, we're using the Defender suite for that. Defender for Endpoint, Defender for Office, Sentinel connect to that. We're using what was it? Gusto query language, KQL. That was one of your sessions. Was about KQL. What do you tell the audience?
Yeah, so basically the idea with the session was to do like a next level thing.
Yeah.
So how to ramp up the Custo, and KQL could be mixed up with Kibana query language, and we're talking about Custo. And so the idea was to do a more advanced session and share some things we run into in different projects and that we've seen with customers. So for instance, we're talking about regular expressions, how to use that in Custo, how it works, what doesn't work, and so on. And also building parsers for log files, ups and downs with that, what potential issues they can run into when they do it themselves.
I mean, in Defender you have a fixed kind of data model where we have in Sentinel where you are responsible for a lot of the data ingestion, and there you need to parse some logs and normalize the data if you want to have a sustainable management of that, and that's kind of what we were tearing up for. But yeah, we have another session tomorrow around custom detections, building based on the data we actually gathered. So,
custom detections. You need some code to create a custom detection. So there's also Gusto query language used for all that custom detections.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Custo is definitely being used there, and tomorrow the session is about how to build custom detections in Defender, because why do you need custom detections? I mean, Microsoft has a good coverage, but there's always certain business-specific scenarios. You may have TI feeds, you may have administrative models, etc., that you need to build custom detections to be alerted on early, because if an attacker gets in, depending on your posture, it may be very quick, so you want to build early detection signals, and so supporting the Microsoft model, and then also adding when there's new vulnerabilities, etc.
So how do you maintain and stay current with the new detection models and things like that with your custom, right? Because it's almost every week or every day something new comes out, right? And now you gotta keep up with those kind of detections in place.
I mean, we have several models to manage the life cycle. We do red teaming, pen testing, etc., to find detection gaps, and there we build detections based out of that, and then that continuously runs. And then if Microsoft is picking it up out of the box, okay, we can remove the detection. But then we have TI feeds that are generic, which is kind of feeding in with external data, etc. So there are various ways to maintain it, and Mattias works quite a lot with that. So.
Yeah.
And also it takes a lot of time to both develop new use cases and because it's not only about the actual detection query, it's about the full use case. What do you actually want to detect, and how should you act when it happens? That's also an important aspect of the full use case. Because it's depending on the setup and how you're working, it's usually someone else that looks at the initial incident when it comes, and so from that perspective, it's really important to have the full, like the soft values of it in place as well.
What I'm thinking of. Next question. I have for you a question, but first, custom detections and country specific. I'm from the Netherlands. You live in the US. You're from Sweden. Are there specific custom detections that are country specific? I can imagine if you are in hospital that is specific to healthcare, that you have custom detections based on an application that is used or whatever. But are there country specific things that Microsoft doesn't cover?
Like localizations, I guess.
Yeah,
that's what you're asking.
Yeah,
both yes and no. But I mean, it's usually sector based. So if it's healthcare or if it's financial or what industry it is, it's usually a different threat model or threat. Yeah, the threat landscape looks a bit different. But then of course we have the geopolitical aspect as well, and that's usually quite country specific, where they're targeting certain countries for gathering information or pointing at certain, but that can also be like sector based. But so a bit of both, I would say.
And they talk about custom detections within the Defender suite, KQL. How are you into that area? Yeah, you're more or less a marketing guy.
So I didn't focus on KQL and stuff like that, right? I dabbled in PowerShell and whatnot. So prior to my role as a marketing person, I was an IT pro, IT admin and stuff like that. So used what you had, right? Zero trust model, zero trust principles. That's what we preach. That's what we want people to do, right? Conditional access and security baselines and all those kind of things. So
you work nowadays for Microsoft.
Yes.
You're both working for an MSP. What if we look at the past year? We had a conversation on the table in Luzern also. What investments has been done in the last year, especially from an MSP perspective? What helps you to do your normal day job better now than last year?
I would say one of the things as an MSP, the M2 portal.
Yeah.
So we can do threat hunting much easier directly from Defender and targeting all our customers. So that, from that perspective, that really helps on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
But there are also some new things, especially one thing we talked about on the Custo session, which is the graph semantics in Custo that can be used to create graphs and with nodes and edges to connect them. And the thing that helps with is that in Custo we can't do recursive joins, for example. But with the graphs, we can connect the edges of the investigation much easier and draw the lines and so on.
Yeah, definitely. I think the MTO portal has saved us quite a lot of time when it comes to hunting. I mean, instead of going into each tenant individually, and I know there's further investments being made in the area, so I'm really looking forward to that. Other aspects which we've gained is kind of the custom RBAC roles. We can actually take more permissions in Defender for Office, as an example, with B2B accounts, which has been limited previously. So that is also really good for us, so we don't have to have individual accounts in each customer tenant to to manage some of the actions or the remediations or responses. So.
And within Defender for Endpoint, especially in the integration with Intune, for example, nowadays we have the security policies also within the Defender portal. Is that also helping? If you talk about ARBAC, from support people that doing stuff on Intune, they are still there, but the security people are on the Defender portal, so SecOps. Will that help also from a support perspective?
In some cases, depending on how large the organization is and how they divided the organization, for sure. I mean, we quite tend to often use is also TVM to see some of those settings if they're following TVM best practices, etc. So we can see that. So it helps definitely. But what I'm looking really forward to is, of course, a lot about what's coming around Copilot and all of the Copilots we have around here. So we'll see what happens in that area. But that is also very interesting for us to have AI supporting and saving time for the analyst, and that goes both from an MSSP perspective, but also from a customer perspective. So,
well, in the keynote today, there was a mention of like security copilot, right? That's the area where we're moving towards into all this AI stuff. We can keep up with stuff that's going on, right? Especially in the security space. So let's put some intelligence into it. It'll make decisions. It'll make good decisions. It'll protect everybody, kind of a thing.
And hopefully, I know we talked last year about the within KQL the wizard. How is it called? Where I can within KQL I can select the certain tables where I need. The query builder. Is that within Custo? Is that helping not you, for example, but also customers? So it's active for a year now. Is that helping customers to step into KQL, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think so to some extent, especially depending on if you want to learn the language and if you have this visual where you can use the drop-downs and select different values and columns and so on, and then switch to the query view so you see what actually happens and how it builds the query. I think that could be like some first steps into learning KQL, but you still need to have the interest in learning so you don't stay with that solution, because you can't do all the advanced operations using the query builder, but definitely a good starting point.
A good first step.
Yeah, I think there's another angle to it as well, because I mean, if you're not proficient with threat hunting or how threat actors work or what you should be looking for, there's actually some good references in the examples where you can a process doing this or something do that, and that can also help your mind spinning around what I'm actually looking for. So I think if there's two angles to it, so I think that's also a good approach.
Another good source for that is the threat analytics, so you can read up on the new threats, and there's usually some example queries that you can use just to learn and get some ideas what to query for.
Yeah, and talking about AI, I'm really interested in what AI can do within the query builder, for example, but also asking me as a non-technical guy, asking Copilot, for example, can you help me define some stuff? I don't know, but maybe that can also help.
As long as you understand the answer, so you can verify it somehow.
Yep. That's a good point right there. You gotta verify your answers, right?
Yeah. Because sometimes, ChatGPT, for example, it hallucinates sometimes. Yeah. But especially for building the skeletons. Skeleton for some code and stuff. I think that's really a fun thing. I was talking to one of the PGs. I think it was in 2018 or something, and
long time ago.
Yeah, it was one of the PGs for Defender, and we talked a little bit about hunting. And what I can remember, hunting was pretty new in Defender at the time, and we were having discussions about what the future could look like, and it's like, yeah, it would be nice if AI could help building the queries on the fly. Like, yeah, I got this response, you should probably go in this direction and continue to dig, and you get anomalies and so on. We're almost there with Security Copilot, for example.
Yeah, I know that there's something popping up in my mind. Jeroen has done some videos on KQL with ChatGPT, with OpenAI, to get to request a certain set of code, and then what he got, and he told me, I need to do that 20 times before I get the right code. So you need to verify, and you need to know what the code is, so you can interpret it, and probably can use it afterwards. But then you need to verify.
Yeah, I also noticed when, especially with ChatGPT, is that you really need to formulate your question correct.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it tend to differ in the answer. But as long as you're more spot on with the question, then you get the more direct answer that actually works. And I think I've heard different things, like that it's not that good with Defender queries, but it knows the tables, and as long as you understand the outcome from your question, it's definitely usable.
Yeah. I saw these scare tactics in the news in Sweden the other week about AI is getting rid of these jobs, etc. But I don't really look at AI like that. I see AI as very supportive. I mean, you need to know what you do, but I mean, you can save time, you can be more efficient if you give me a divide, reverse this code, or give me some output of it. Okay, then I can is this reasonable or not, and give me suggestions. Instead of making it up, I can at least save time and be supported by AI, and I think that's a key. Of course, we can be more efficient to do more advanced tasks, etc.
It's the same situation when this whole idea of automation with PowerShell and things like that, happened years ago, and you would see like IT pros were like, oh well, if I automate too much or whatever, then there's no need for me or for somebody else. But that's not true, right? It's just you become more efficient to do your day-to-day job, right?
Everyone in IT has always too much to do, so if you can get the time and spend human hours on doing the right thing instead, and get help from AI.
Yeah, I mean, we have a large skill gap as well, and if you can accelerate learning with AI, I think that can be massive, because I mean, we have a skill gap we have a huge skill gap in specialized cybersecurity. So.
And not only skill gap, but also people who if you look at younger people that are coming into this area, AI can help to make that step a little bit faster than in the past. We had in one of the previous conversations, we talked about learning. We all know the normal stuff in the data centers, what happens, but nowadays it's a service. Look at Cloud PKI. That will be delivered by Microsoft as a service. 5 clicks, and in 5 minutes you have a complete PKI environment running. But I have deployed it on my own a few years ago, multiple times. It's quite hard. But we know what happens on the back end. So if problems exist, we know how to troubleshoot, and that's also within security, I guess. So it's, for younger people, it's hard to adopt, and hopefully with AI, that can definitely be helpful.
Yeah. What you guys are security experts. What are your top 2 security threats that you guys tend to see, like ransomware, or is it some other kind of
I mean, ransomware is really big. A lot of organizations get hit by ransomware, and it's painful for them when they get hit by it. But I mean, there's a lot of other noise around. We see resource hijacking. You haven't configured your environment properly, and some doing Bitcoin mining by stealing your resources, etc.
I see. Okay.
Then business email compromise is also a huge one. I mean, they're becoming more sophisticated and are very more personal. So that is.
And it starts all with awareness. If the awareness isn't there, then malware can be in place, or higher phishing or whatever. And if that happens, most of my customers, right, where I'm running in, is that if something happens, then there is money.
Yes.
There was always in the past with backup and so on. Then there's money. But if we can realize that awareness upfront, that they invest a little bit more now or yesterday and not tomorrow, I think that will also help to prevent a little bit more than nowadays. But
Yeah, it's interesting to see how some organizations, they bulk on the cost, the initial cost, like the budgets. Oh, we don't have the budget to do this. We don't have the budget to hire a new person to do security or buy the tools and all that stuff. But then when they get hit, now it's costing them hundreds times more, right? And all of a sudden the budget is there.
Yeah.
The money just shows up from somewhere. It's, and when you look at all of that, it's just not the money, it's the downtime, you lose your business, your productivity and all that, and credibility with their customers, right? Whatever organization they are, it creates a sense of insecurity.
Yeah, I think the all the media buzz and everything being aware about the ransomware, I think the questions have come up higher in the organization. Now it's on board level instead of just on the IT department. So I think at least awareness around board members, CEO, C-level, etc. has definitely increased. So I think that if there's a good thing out of it happening, I think that's good because we're doing better posture. But I mean, the threat actors are always evolving as well. I mean, the more we ramp up, they will also ramp up. So I think
And I
it's a
think there's
constant
also
battle.
and I think there's also a pressure. I'm not sure, but here in this, in Europe, but in the U.S. side, pressure from insurance companies, right? Hey, we can't insure you unless you document what your security practices are, what you guys have implemented, how you're doing it, and stuff like that, right? So
yeah, I mean, we see that a lot as well, and I think the trend is going up and down. But I think we're also starting to see legislation being put in place. We have some new European directives on how critical societies should protect their environments. We have the financial sector are getting there, etc. So if companies are not self-regulating, someone is going to regulate them, and we're starting to see that now because the posture is poor with some of the customers out there. So.
And if they want to start, then we are available within Sweden, but also in the Netherlands, also in other countries. We can help them with KQL, with custom detections to not only implement the basics within Defender and Sentinel and so on, but also on the next use cases that they are specific for that type of customer.
It's important also for that it's not just a check in the box. We see a lot of organizations ticking. Yeah, we have EDR, XDR, we have whatever security configuration made and so on, but there's no one working with it. So I have the staffing to actually work with it 24/7, because most of the attacks, the larger ones, they initiates on evenings, weekends, and so on, when they know that the staffing is lower and it's more difficult to get people to start working and so on.
It's not only turning on. I see a lot of customers also in my area that we have Defender. Okay, let me see at the incident page. And then you open the incident page and whoa, there is a bunch of incidents running. And then you look, that's a half year ago already. So that's a half year ago. And what happens? Yeah, I don't know. So you need definitely staff, people who look into, and you can create custom detections. But if you don't follow up an incident, then I think they will mess around.
I know some cases where there have been a lot of, regardless of which tool they have, there are incidents and you can trace it back for a month and they got hit, but no one was working with it.
Yeah.
So they could potentially have avoided that attack a month ago.
Yeah. Yeah, we have seen that in the Netherlands. That one of the cases that is on top of mind, that is what is the University of Maastricht? What came out that they were active for more than a half year.
Yep.
And assume breach. That is what we are telling everyone. But that's the case. And if you don't look at incidents and so on, it could be 2 years.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, systematic security work, and that's both from information to security down to the technical and cyber security. So, I mean, you need to have this ongoing work on assessing risk. What do I need to prioritize, etc. Because you can't protect everything. You need to find what's most important and focus on those and reduce risk in the critical scenarios. So.
And if you are too small as a company, look into a partner who can help you, or also Microsoft can do stuff on that end. But if you have a local partner that can help, that's highly preferable in most cases. But yeah, you need to take action. That's what we say.
Definitely.
And
Nice.
also about the budgeting that was mentioned earlier. We had that question after a session because especially if you talk about Sentinel, ingesting data costs a lot of money, and if you take one step back and start working on use cases, then you can motivate the budget for example, we need this firewall log, or we need this custom web app log, even if it costs money, because we have a requirement from the business and we promise that we will detect these kind of activities.
Yeah,
So
but
that's also a way to increase your budget to actually implement these kind of security systems.
if that application is so important for your organization, you need to do stuff with it. So then definitely the budget can be increased for that. So, any other question?
No, it's great. I think I learned a lot just from you guys, and seems like you know the space really well, and you're pretty deep into it. So more power to you.
Got from
Yeah,
a job to a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle, yeah, and not only in day, but also in evenings, and doing a lot of community work. We all do. So thank you for joining us in this recording, and we will join up and see each other next time.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.